You need facts, figures, scores, and scoops, and the truth.
Omni Audio Africa, you listening to No Punches Pull. Colin Nathan keeping you locked on for this episode, and I've got one of South Africa's hottest, Africa's one of Africa's hottest boxing talents, Kaine Fourie, 23 years old, can pull it back with one shot, leaves his fans breathless with his power. K9 joins me in studio. Welcome for coming into the show.
No, thank you for having me, Uncle Cole.
23 years old. I want to talk about your journey, talk about your journey into boxing and actually becoming a man, because my first memory of you, and I know you're going to start laughing and we're going to laugh about it, was Coach G, who is Gert Stroner, who's been on the show before, phoned me up and he actually said to me, listen, I've got this young teenage kid. Can I bring him for sparring? And I said, well, look, I've only got Maruti Mtalani in the gym at the moment. And he said to me, yeah, no problem. I said, yeah, let's go. Next thing, this tall, skinny kid, and you're a lot skinnier than you are now, kind of bright-eyed, and introduced yourself to me. And I was like, hey, welcome. And I was like, is this the kid who's sparring with Maruti? And the next thing, because Maruti is an amazing fighter, an amazing human being, but he had a certain gear when he started sparring, and that gear was just one gear. Like he was relentless. And I remember he sparred 2 or 3 rounds with someone else, and then you came in for the remainder. I think you did 3 rounds, if my memory serves me correct, but you hung tough. Talk us through that moment, and then I want to go back before we after you discussed that moment with Maruti Mtalani.
Yeah, no, that day, I'll never forget it. Probably like my flippin' toughest sparring partner ever, till this date.
And flyweight.
Yeah, I'm gonna just a quick backstory on that day. I was working with Rainer Liebenberg at the paint shop.
Okay.
And I told him I'm gonna spar Maruti. He was laughing, he was shooting me, that guy's gonna peer you. So just be ready, when you get into that ring, you're going to get clapped. I'm like, no, man, it can't be that bad. I mean, he's smaller than me, like 9 kilos at that time. I was weighing like 59, 60. I went to the gym. I promise you, that guy hit me with the overhand right. I saw stars, and I saw 4 Marutis in front of me. I was like, 1 Maruti already did the damage. Now I have 4. I don't know what to do. And I was like telling coach after the sparring, I don't want to spar there again. I don't want to go, never again, step my foot into Uncle Colin Nathan's gym and spar Maruti. But then, yeah, we dug deep and we at least finished the rounds there.
Yeah, you finished the rounds. You were very, very tough. And let's actually start, I suppose, the first question that I always like asking people, because it is a boxing show after all. Your first boxing experience. Everyone remembers that first moment where they either watched a fight or stepped into a boxing gym or saw people, I suppose, boxing each other in the streets. So what was your first boxing experience?
Yeah, so basically the boxing runs in our family. My dad's side, my mother's side. Like I said, my mother's side, Gideon Strydom, one of the best amateurs. My dad boxed professional, just a discipline that caught him. But the reason I started boxing was Manny Pacquiao. We watched him like always boxing. Boxing was always on the TV as well. So I remember the one fight, we watched Pacquiao, he got knocked out with that vicious shot last second. And then my mom started crying. I was crying. I was like, nah. Now I need to fight. They put the fire in me. So just from there, and then I told my dad I want to box, and he told me, yeah, wait, Kaine, you're still young. Wait till you're 16. If you want to still fight, come to me, talk to me, and then we can take you to the gym.
Was your dad reluctant, given his career, to take you to a boxing gym?
Like he wasn't, in the start he said, he don't want me to box because I don't want to start like at 10 years, 12 years old. So,
right.
But then I told him when I was 16 years old, I want to box. Then he said, okay, he'll take me to the gym and I'll tell you a story. Just when he told me, you're going to take you for sparring at Witpoortjie. No, bad.
So, Witpoortjie, the amateur club, was your first boxing experience?
Yeah, sparring. And then...
Yeah, everyone, it's funny because everyone remembers that first spar.
That's the thing. And that was like my first sparring session ever, because I told my dad, me and my brother was like always on the TV, like, you know, the people that just sits and like, oh, why didn't you do this? It's so easy to eat a guy, like straight right or whatever. He said, okay, I'll take you to a gym. And we went to Witpoortjie. The people damaged me. I cried at home. I don't want to box anymore. But then I just like, I don't know what happened, but I just kept on going. I've learned. I left school for this, went to Coach G, and then Coach G sharpened me up.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Coach G in a second, but I just want to go back. So your dad had kind of like a tough love approach with you.
Yeah.
16, you nagged him. You got taken to a boxing gym, And you got thrown in the deep end to the point where you didn't know your basics. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
No, exactly. And then he told me, well, this is the game. You have to be tough. You can't just come here and talk like you're going to hit everyone. Like, there's levels at this game. Like, you can't just go in and beat a guy up. I mean, he's gonna humble you at the end of the day.
Did you have street fights leading up to that?
No,
Were you an
nothing.
aggressive kid?
No, not aggressive. My dad would have like smacked us if we had like fights or anything.
Right.
But yeah, we were scared of our dad basically.
So the Vitpoiki incident happened. You went home crying. Your tail was between your legs. At what point did you realize, well, maybe I need to pull myself towards myself and go back?
No, well after that,
How long did it take?
No, like a few months actually. Like every Thursday, me and my brother were like, Dad, we can't go to the sparring. We have like an injury. Like me and him, because we both went, and then it was like always like verschonings, like I can't go. I'm this, I'm that, and like just months. He kept on going, and then one day I just said to my dad, okay, now take me to a decent gym, and then I can start working and just like get into it.
So you walked into Coach G, Gert Stratum's gym, and he had a program called Boys to Men. You were 16 years old, if I recall, at the time. Tell us about that experience, that first moment you met Coach G.
Well, like I said, I was scared to go with Coach G because when the first time I saw him, I was like 15, 16 years old. Ponytail with the hat. He looked vicious. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go to Coach G. I mean, he looks so scared. Like, he's so scared, a scary person and stuff. And it's like, no, man, he's not that scary. Because my dad knew Coach G from a long time ago. I don't know how, but they knew each other. And then he took me to the gym, and Coach G welcomed me with open arms. He was very nice. He like did a grappie here and there. And then I was like, okay, nah, Coach G is actually a very nice person.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people don't know he's actually got a very soft heart.
Very soft heart.
Very soft heart.
Helping.
Hard guy, very hard guy.
Yeah.
Very strict and disciplined. It's interesting. Coach G and we actually share a wonderful relationship, as you know, but we clashed early on in our careers. But I know, and I actually want to talk about that relationship with you because you regard him as like another father.
Definitely.
So, and the way boxing and politics work, there are lots of sharks swimming in this small pond, you could say,
Too much.
looking to get their jaws onto a young prospect like you. And let's be candid, let's be honest, that some of these guys have approached you, but you've always been loyal to Coach G. Talk us through that relationship.
No, definitely. So how can I put it? The first time I joined Coach G, like I didn't know you have to like pay fees. Like from the start, we weren't like brought up like me and my brother. We always hustle for money. Like we didn't have anything on the platter. We went like rough grow up and stuff. So we went to Coach G, and then the month end came, and he was like, okay, you can pay me. And I was like, I don't have any like money to pay Coach G or nothing. And he was like, okay, don't worry, Kaine. We're gonna get the money in a few years. Don't worry. But you have to listen to me. You stick to me. Train, do this, do that, do that. I said, okay, no, it's fine. And then I left school when I was 17 years old. Then I went to Coach G. I stood there while I was there, like every day, morning to night. I even slept at his place upstairs, the gym. And then Coach G, he bought me every day food. He gave me money to survive because I had nothing in my name, like nothing. And then just from that, like Coach G, like no one knows it. It's the first time I'm telling it to the people or whoever. But Coach G has a very soft heart. Like he helped me with money-wise, bought me food. We ate burgers every Friday. That was the best day. Massive burgers. And then, I'm lucky I joined him because he wanted to leave boxing as well. But then he told me, nah, Kaine, I think you're the guy that's gonna keep me here.
Yeah, it's a very special story.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting goosebumps just listening to that. I wanted to talk about your amateur career with Coach G because that was troublesome from what Coach G was telling me, that there weren't a lot of fights.
Bad.
You had you were in his program for 6 years and you only got 6 amateur fights. Talk through those moments.
So the amateur that time wasn't like, how can I say, it wasn't organized. It was badly organized. Like we went there and then I think you started red or no?
Yeah,
red.
I think it was red.
Or something like that. And you can't fight a blue fighter because he has too many fights or whatever. And then I went to Coach G, we started amateur, and then, like I say, we were there for years and only had 6 amateur fights. And then they started putting me up against the SA champs because because I was sparring the pros. And they had a big problem with that also. So all of that, just problems. And then I just sparred the pros, one fight a year, basically amateur, knocked out like 2 SA champions in the first minute. And then they had problems. I'm spotting pros and all that stuff. So we just left the amateurs.
Yeah, so I actually, funny enough, before we carry on with that, I remember you telling me a story a few months ago that, or did I see it in an interview that you would actually bunk school before you left school, and Coach G would actually cover for you. Talk us through that.
No, that was the best. I remember every Friday we had 2 periods English. I used to bunk it. I used to run to Coach G because that was my routine. Every day after school, I used to run to training. So Friday, Wednesdays, I went 2 periods English. I bunked it. I ran to Coach G and I started training.
Okay, that's not a good message to the youth. We obviously, we want to encourage education for our youth, but I mean, I suppose your story, it's a little different. So you knocked out 2 SA amateur champs and then you decided to turn pro.
Yeah.
And I remember doing your commentary for your first fight where you dropped the guy twice, winning a points decision over 4 rounds. And I actually got it wrong when I said he's a former South African amateur champion. And Coach G messaged me, he said, like, Cole, I think you may have got it wrong, which I did, and I concede I was wrong. Kaine only had 6 amateur fights. And then I phoned Coach G, and he was like, nobody knocked out the SA amateur champ, but there was politics, and so it's no problem. But you were very impressive in your first pro fight. What was the decision? I suppose maybe it's a rhetorical question now, given the fact that is it fair to say you were frustrated with the amateur game?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if it was organized better and like everything is done to like a certain, how can I say, like
standard,
then it would have been like, okay, we can go more like to Olympics maybe or something, but it was just wasting our time and stuff, and just like, we just turned pro.
So you were introduced to politics within the sport from a young age.
Exactly. And then also from school still, from the rugby, if your parents doesn't have money, you're not going to be in the A team. Athletics, if you don't have money, like in general or something, like there's always politics like this and that. So I'm used to it.
Yeah, let's not even get into the world of democracy, I suppose. It's another conversation. Okay. And then, then COVID hit, which obviously was a big factor for everyone in the world. We all suffered in some way, shape, or form. How did COVID affect you? Because obviously you want to, as a young professional, start getting momentum, getting fights, and then all of a sudden everything just comes to a halt.
Yeah, so like it was a hit for everyone. Like I wouldn't say like for me it was bad, but for me actually it was a better thing, because in that year I've learned so much like that I can like in 2 years' time. Me and Coach, she always worked like every day still in COVID. Like we went out, sneak out, go to the gym, because he was staying right under the gym anyway. So right above the gym. So we were training a year, like, and I've learned a lot. And then it just helped me not in a good way.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because there were times where the gyms actually had to shut down.
Yeah.
But then during COVID, you were still allowed to kind of train. And I saw a lot of fighters actually develop within that period because there was no other opportunity. You had to either spar with various sparring partners and up your game. Otherwise, you were just going to be stagnant and stay at home effectively and just kind of waste years. Do you think that it was a good thing or bad thing for you to actually develop during that time? Because it's a good question. How did you develop during that time?
No, good question. I think it was good for us because I was still like a baby. Like I wasn't even like built. I was still walking around like 61, 62 on lightweight basically. And I was so small and I was so, not like manly enough to go pro, I think. So basically, that year we just worked. We even sparred in it. We just worked, and it helped me a lot. So, yeah.
And at this point now, had you left school?
Yeah. No, I did.
And did you have the support of your parents to leave school?
Yeah, I had to convince them every day for like a year to let me leave school. And I told them, but listen, you don't have to pay for my books or for whatever, for food or whatever. Just tell them something. And I said, my dad told me, okay, then show me you want to leave school, but you must show me like you want to box. Then I started running for 2 years to the gym after school. So
I mean, it's been a few years now. Do you regret not doing your school? Or
I wanted to leave it earlier now. Just imagine where I have been now. But right. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, being an academic doesn't necessarily mean that you're smart. I mean, there's street smartness, there's perceptiveness, there's You know, and I do. I've interacted with you plenty of times. You're a smart kid. Now, I want to talk about your nickname, Kaine. It's so appropriate for Kaine, Fourie. You know, Coach G's often said, you know, like he often mentions dogs and stuff. How did the nickname come about, Kaine?
So yeah, that was, I wouldn't say, it was sparring after Maruti them now. When I was a bit, bit bigger and stuff. And then I was sparring other people, former champs, whatever. And then I used to give them like I would say a beating now and then. And then Coach G told me, told my dad one day or something like, Kaine has a dog in him. Like in the ring, he has a dog in him. And I was like, okay, dog, Kaine, maybe like a K9, like no Kaine, K9. It rhymes also. So yeah, from there I just was K9.
Yeah, so the term in boxing, I mean, it's kind of used around ringside. He's got dog in him, means he's got ball sack and he's got character and heart. And we're going to get to that now. But also you've got a couple of draws in your record. You've got, 9 wins and 2 draws. And the 2 draws happened, I would say, during the very first phase of your career where you really kind of get accustomed getting into the ring under the bright lights. Talk us through those moments. And I remember seeing one of them and I thought that you deserved the decision. But we can't go back in time and change results. It is what it is. Yeah. How did that affect you? Because you won 2 fights, or you won 1 fight, you drew 2, and then it was just the ball was rolling afterwards.
Yeah, so the first draw was in Durban. We went there in their home turf.
It's hard to, man. I just want to, on that point, it's like when you go to East London, when you go to KZN, it's like almost notorious.
Yeah.
It's like, even the Eastern Cape people like joke about the decisions there. But, and I suppose that's another question as we get on, with regards to the landscape of South African boxing in terms of officials. But I just want to make it very clear to the listeners, it's hard to win in those environments. So carry on.
Yeah, so it was there. And then now you must remember, I knocked him twice down in the 4-rounder.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you can give a draw, but it is what it is. Like I say, once you never go back to your ex, so I don't even look back. So the decision is what it is. And then the other one, I fought with only a right hand. I think that was in Middelburg or somewhere far. My left hand was like, I think saw the wrist or something, and I could only use the right hand. And then I still knocked him down as well in the 4-rounder. And then I still draw. But I don't know, but it's better for me actually now, because now that I see 2 draws on my like record, it's like, okay, he's been in a draw or whatever, not just 11 wins, 11 KOs or whatever. So it's better for me, I think, now at this stage.
Yeah, and I mean, also like, Pumalela Knaf has also got a couple of draws.
Exactly,
I think 2 or 3 draws in his record. And even if you had lost, I mean, it's also part of your development. It depends on how you lost.
Yeah.
And on that point, like as a young fighter, 23 years old in South African boxing, do you feel that there's a bit of pressure that you've never lost? And is it important to you? Because Floyd Mayweather came in with this, 51-0 resume, and everyone thinks he's the greatest of all time. But fighters lose. It's life. What's your opinion of your unbeaten record? And is it important to you? No,
so there's always pressure on me. But like if I tell people what we have been through from like young age, that's pressure, not this pressure. This pressure is okay. I can handle it. But the pressure we have been like growing up, me and my brother, my mom and dad, that's real pressure. So I know what it is. But this pressure is nothing to compare to that. So I can take it. It's better for me to have pressure, because if you don't have pressure, you're doing something wrong. So and I love it. Like I like to be the underdog as well sometimes, but like I don't want to lose. I want to win. And then because end of the year, next year maybe there can come big opportunities as well. So
of course, no one wants to lose. But I'm just I mean, had you lost early in your career, it wouldn't have been in the world. I mean, fighters lose, they come back. It's just one of those things. You got the shots. You were coming up against Kai Busakwe. You were the underdog for the Gauteng Lightweight Championship. I thought it was a big step, maybe a little premature. Yeah. But Coach G is known for pushing his guys, throwing them in the deep end to see if they can swim. And you ended up stopping, or rather knocking out Busakwe in 3 rounds. Yeah. Totally dominant. Caught him on a left hook, and that was kind of all she wrote. Talk us through that moment, becoming a champion in the professional ranks for the first time.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I fought him in Soweto, in his hometown. Yeah. So, going into the fight, everyone was calling me, my dad, Coach G, like, don't take the fight. This guy can punch, straight right, or whatever. He's got, almost everything KOs. And I'm like, no, man, it's okay. I know what to do because, funny story, the other guy in our camp first lost against him, Brandon O'Dear, Honey Badger. And
Yes,
then-
I watched that. It's Santon Convention Center, I think it was. Yes.
And then he came home, Coach G told him sorry or whatever and all that stuff. And then Coach G told me, Kaine, in 4 years, you're going to fight this guy for the Gauteng title. 4 years, exactly 4 years later, I fought him. And I won him KO.
Yeah, I mean, it was spectacular knockouts.
Yeah.
Your next fight, you were a little idle for a bit. And then Senatemba Blom, who was a 5 or 6 time SA amateur champion, did really well. I think he just missed out on a medal in the Commonwealth Games. Decided to turn professional. He had one fight, or was it 2 fights? One fight. And he was really, really like the next best thing since sliced cheese. Lovely guy. Manager Lonky Witboy is also a tremendous human being. But they called for you. And I thought it was just a very intriguing fight. I thought, obviously, you never had the amateur pedigree. He did, but you had the professional experience, which is obviously less than, I think you had like 5 or 6 fights at the time. And he was being matched up. And it was an ESPN Africa over 6 rounds in the lightweight division. And I remember it was still, to this day, one of the best fights I've ever seen. You put him over 2 or 3 times.
3 times.
One was with a crippling left hook to the body. And he just showed a lot of character actually getting up. You were on cruise control, winning the fight handily. And about halfway through the last round, you walked onto a right uppercut, which kind of shook you up. And I mean, there was so much drama ringside. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But you did the right things. Talk us through, and I still say that was your first crisis moment as a professional where you really got hurt and you were visibly hurt. Talk us through how he caught you, because he kind of set you up and he tipped his right shoulder in and it whipped it right up and underneath it and caught you flush.
Yeah, so the first time I saw Blom fought was at ESPN as well, a 4-rounder.
Yes.
And then I didn't know nothing about him, to be honest. But I watched the fight. He was like gassing in the second round. The other guy almost knocked him out as well. Like
in the last round, that's right. Yeah.
Like he was busy like handling him like nice. And then we got a call later, I think like a month after that, like I'm going to fight Senatemba Blom. I was like, okay, no, man, it's fine. Coach G, take it. And then just like a day before my fight, I went through social media and I saw like a thing come up, like a newspaper thing article about him. And I saw the amateur pedigree. And I was like, what the shit's going on now? I'm like, I'm seeing this only now and I'm fighting the guy tomorrow. But I'm like, okay, no, it's fine. And then
Did you, I mean, in South African or Afrikaans, did you cuck yourself?
yeah, definitely. I mean, to see the guy almost fight 300 amateur fights, this medal, that medal, I'm like, oh, but now I've got the dog in me. So, you know how it goes. And then, yeah, the fight came and then there was like Coach G and them had like back and forth, and then there was money put in, like Kaine's gonna knock out this guy, and then they put money in. It was just a money fest, like 2 strippers going at each other. Anyways, and then, yeah, like you say, the left hook lands, probably my favorite shot.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that 45 in a second.
It's like a brunette with nice toes. It's like 10 out of 10, you know. But, yeah, and after that left hook, I caught him again with the overhand right. And then the second one was a body punch as well, the last knockdown. And then my almost knockdown, but almost not yet so far.
Did you get too complacent? Were you too relaxed going to the last round?
Yeah, I think so. Because I won him 6 love. And
No,
6
dominant.
love. And then coach told me to throw a combo, but I didn't listen and just threw like the second part of the combo. And that's where I was open. And he caught me with the uppercut. And then luckily I just leaned over his shoulder. He couldn't see I was hurt, but everyone else was screaming towards him like, he's hurt. And then, yeah, I just...
And what was that experience like? Because you obviously knew yourself you were hurt. I mean, but you did all the right things. You were holding, mauling, trying to survive. Where did that instinct come from? Because a lot of young fighters don't know how to react in those crisis situations, but you did.
I spot Maruti. he showed me a long time ago what to do if I'm sore. Like, nah, I just had a mentality from, I can't lose in front of my parents, especially if my mom is there. Like, you can't knock me out in front of her. Like, and then, yeah, I just hold him. And then I came back eventually after a minute. There was still 30 seconds left because he, like, exactly caught me on a minute and a half. Then I had to survive the minute and a half. So, it is what it is. And then, luckily, I've learned what to do when I'm hurt. So, yeah.
And that was the first time that I really took notice of that 45-degree angle left hook. And I have to tell the listeners and the viewers that I rate Kaine Fourie's 45-degree left hook the best in South Africa. Like really, there's no one. I don't think anyone can come close to that 45-degree ankle hook. Talk to us about that moment, that development of that 45-degree left hook. So basically, what I've seen is you bring your left hand slightly down, and you wait for the person to come in, or you pull, you set traps. But the way you pull it through is just sensational. Talk us through the development of that left hook.
Yeah, so that's what it comes like a long way back with Coach G and me. Always my left hook it's powerful, but Coach G told me what to do if like the guy is like closing his right arm up, jabbing down. So I can either hit him with the 45 while his hand is up or down. I can choose both shots, but we've been practicing it for years now. So, but like I say, once it lands.
Yeah, it's game over. But you've also got a good right hand too. I don't want to diminish your arsenal.
Yeah.
Something maybe that's going to upset you, but I do want to talk it over. Is after that you were signed to fight at Sun City, and that fell apart. But I want to go into the events of the event falling apart. You trained 6-7 weeks. You sacrificed, you cut weight. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about the game, is that the fight's kind of the reward for everyone. But it's all the hard work that goes in. It's the sacrifice of, not eating the calories that your body needs to, because you got to make a weight. You got to make a weight division. You got to make weights. And also, from a physiological perspective, you put your body through trauma. You got to spar. You got to do the rounds. You went to a weigh-in at Sun City by a promoter that was funded by government. And you rocked up and you saw the trucks that were being broadcast by Supersport being, they were packing up, and you and Coach G were left high and dry at this. It wasn't even a weigh-in. Talk us through those moments.
Yeah, and then after that he got promoter of the year as well. Yeah. So what a joke.
Disgrace.
But anyway, we went there. I cut my left. That fight I was the worst, cutting for my fight. It was 11 kilos, I think.
Wow. Okay.
So I was a bit drained. I went to Sun City, 2 hours drive, whatever.
Yeah.
Went there, and then we went into we would have fought in the stadium type of thing. We see the people taking off the clips or whatever, the ring, they're putting everything back. I'm like, what's going on here? And then Coach G is like, something's not lacking here. We phone everyone else, no, they're at home, nothing is happening, the fight's cancelled. So we didn't even know the fight's cancelled on our way there. We went all the way there for nothing. I was dry. I started crying afterwards because it was bad. I mean, you do your job and then this guy mess it up.
And what was worse, just the emotional disappointment or the fact that you couldn't fight, or was it just a whole combination of things?
I think it was everything in one. And then emotionally, I think just everything comes together and you just let it out.
Yeah. So are you saying this promoter never even had the decency to inform you and Coach your fight was off?
Nothing.
And no communication, since then, nothing after that?
No, nothing. Bad.
Yeah, and I think that leads me into my next question. I mean, you're a young fighter. You're obviously educating yourself into the dynamics of South African boxing. What is your thoughts on government-funded promoters in South Africa?
I don't know how to say it. I'm not a guy that just that goes into all that perspective. But I think it's not that good to stay on a government-funded base. Look at Kevin them and with Uncle Colin them, with Larry them. It's everything on your own. Nothing to do with the government and stuff. So I don't like to talk about it, but I think it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of the young up and coming promoters going into the private sectors and actually actively going out.
Yeah,
and not waiting for handouts. I mean, I suppose that's the best way to put it. Moving along, you fought for the ABU title, you won that, and then you got kind of a breakthrough moment for me was when you got asked as the B-side fighter to fight Lusanda Komanisi, former South African lightweight champion. I think you fought the fight at catchweight, if I'm right.
No,
was it lightweight?
Yeah, lightweight.
And again, I thought that, one guy's going down and one guy's coming up. It's a very intriguing fight. It's very interesting. Funnily enough, I did favor you to win. I just thought the timing was right. But I know a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
But to me, that was your coming out moment where, okay, you've got some good wins. The Blom win was good. You won the ABU championship. Bosako was, South African champion. He went on, and congratulations to him because he comes from quite a rough background. I mean, I think he was imprisoned and he's turned his life around. So big respect to him. Great human being, and just shows you that someone can turn their life around and become something better. Talk us through that breakthrough moments. You fought at Empress Palace. You were not the A-side fighter, you were the B-side, but you were so dominant. So it was third round, caught him with a right hand. He really got shaken up, took a knee, and you couldn't beat the count. Talk us through that moment.
No, that one was like, I mean, the fight, when they said, I think it was, Coach G phoned me, and then he was like, okay, they have one offer for us, Komanisi. Do you want to take it or not? He asked me, do you want it or not? I said, yes, Coach, I want it. I mean, let me show you what I can do with the former world champion. And then, the road building up to the fight was good. I mean, I had to train very hard because, I mean, I remember I think Uncle Colin, like, once said to Coach G, like, when he was hitting bags back in the day, he was, like, throwing bombs at these bags and, like, you can hear it from outside.
Yeah. The son of Komanisi.
Yeah.
To this day, I got to tell you, like, his punches just sounded different.
No, it's...
Like I got, my bags are pretty strong, and, like, the walls would shudder. This guy just had frightening power, you know.
Exactly. Now you must know what it does to my head. Like, I mean,
did you hear the conversation?
Yeah.
Coach?
No. That was like I'm saying, like, shit. Like another one is going now. But anyways, at least I have power as well. And I told him because we had the like a press conference, me and him together. I was like, he's the Mexican. I told him I'm Mexican. I love Mexican food. So whatever. But no, it was a good fight. I had to work hard every day because I mean he can punch, and then. It was still, I'm saying now, it was like probably how can I say it, not like my hardest fight, but technical. I had to think because I missed every shot I threw because it was experience, I think, from his side.
Were you a bit nervous going in?
Yeah. No, okay. I was. When I walked into the ring, like, I told Coach, can we do it? He was like, yeah, of course. We've been training hard and everything. And then I remember round 2, I came to the corner. I told Coach G, I can't land one punch on this guy. And he was like, hey, don't worry. I'm going to tell you what to do. So I was like, just moving. And then once he told me, okay, now, and then I throw the thing, lands over.
Yeah, it was beautiful. You set it up beautifully on that.
Yeah, at least. And then
that was your right hand, actually.
That was the right hand.
That was the right hand.
And then, and then he called me out again in Komanisi. He wants to fight on 63. And I'm like, you want to go a weight up? I'm going to be better. I'm going to be stronger as well. I'm not going to cut weight, like too much weight also. So just doesn't add up. But anyways, yeah.
And you then became, I suppose, the talk of the town. Everyone wanted a piece of Kaine Fourie. There were promoters running after you. There were some press announcements and press releases that you had signed with the promoter, which was all bullshit. And funny enough, I was speaking to Rainer Liebenberg, who's obviously still very close to me, and he's starting to break through into the boxing community as a trainer manager. And he said to me, listen to me, what do you think of Kaine? And I was like, I think he's hot. I think he's got a good thing going with Coach G. I heard of stories that people trying to poach you behind the scenes afterwards, and that led to Coach G opening his mouth. That's a story and an interview for another day. But I got a message from Coach G, said to me, can we meet? And I was like, sure, what's it about? And he said, you. And I want to talk that moment through when you decided to give Larry and I a call and, let's set up a meeting. What was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, so I can be honest with you, I had like mixed emotions because I had one offer, other offer. I don't know what to do. Like one is broadcasted on SuperSport, one isn't. So I was like thinking, I was asking my dad, my mom what to do, and they're like, no, you have to decide. You're the boxer. We can't decide for you. So I have to sit with Coach G. We talked about it, and then he told me something, and then I was like, okay, it's fine, let's do it. But then the other side of me, I was like, no, but I want to sign with this one because, like everything looks brighter on the other side.
Right.
But once I signed the contract and then just a few months after seeing how that promotion is doing, I'm glad.
I suppose the biggest thing for you at the time was before your breakout fight with Lusana Komanisi was, I suppose the market wasn't like it is now. It's blossoming now, I'd say. But the biggest thing for you was activity. You wanted to be active. And how important is it for you to be active as a young fighter in South Africa? Because fights are scarce. It's not easy to get fighters fights. but the market is now opening up. How important is it for you to keep sharpening your skills and be in the ring, being active?
No, especially for a young prospect guy, like a young fighter, you want to fight like at least 4 times a year, because you're not getting paid like overseas people. Then you can fight twice a year or once a year. And for me at that stage, I wanted to fight at least 3 fights, 4 fights a year. I can't just fight once or twice. Like, I mean, the other year, what was it, like my second pro year, I fought like twice or one time.
And still 4-round level, which is...
That's the thing. And then 4 was stopped on the day or whatever. It was just, it was bad. But yeah, it's good to be active. Like now, at least I'm fighting now in March again, and then I can fight like after March again. So yeah, you just have to be active. And then once you start earning a lot of money, you don't have to fight every like 3 months or 4 months. You can fight like 2-3 times a year, basically.
So you joined Boxing 5 No Doubt Management, and I just, there's no biasness in this interview. You and I do work together. You are one of my fighters who I represent. You also won the IBF Africa Continental, blowing guys away, which I thought was... You don't get paid for overtime. Do you feel the fact that you were knocking guys out so quickly before your last fight, which obviously I want to embellish, was a disadvantage to you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say disadvantage, but like how can I say it? Like, it wasn't my fault. I'm landing on this people. But like, like when I fought Makaleni, everyone told me, no, he was like one of the best prospects. Like I remember Hayden interviewed him a long time ago, and also like on his list, best prospect of the year or whatever. And then I was like, no, okay. And then one shot, it's like all over first round. Like, he didn't want to fight. It was just there probably for the payday or something. But yeah, I wouldn't say disadvantage, but like I would love to go rounds, but it's better to knock them out as well.
So at that point, would it be fair to say that you were developing not from your fights, but in the gym?
Yeah, sparring.
Yeah.
I learned more in sparring and training than fights.
So I want to talk about November last year. Ghanaian Muhammad Wasiri came into the mix. And Coach G and I were part of that selection process for picking him. Unbeaten, was a formerly world-rated junior featherweight. Unbeaten in 13 fights with 12 knockouts, fearsome puncher. But he had one fight at lightweight, and then his name was brought into the mix. And Coach G and I said, okay, well, we need a step up, and this could be a step up in the right direction. Because we're going to talk about the fight and how it unfolded, but when you first looked at it and you saw his record, what did you think?
No, I Googled him first and checked what I can see. And then I was like getting an England promoter. I remember saying like, no, Wasiri's power is different level and all sorts of stuff. I watched it like a few fights, and I normally don't watch my opponent's fights, but I watched this one's fight and like, no, he can bang, he can hit. For such a small guy, he can knock you out with anything. So yeah, leading up to the fight, I was like, again, it's 2 punches going at each other. The one with the best chin is going to pull it off.
Yeah, so it's 10 rounds. Well, scheduled optimistically for 10 rounds. And we always got the feeling it wasn't going to go 10 rounds. There was a concern, obviously, because he could punch. And, you hadn't been in so deep since the Blom fight. But also we needed to kind of know what kind of fighter we're dealing with. First round came out, you guys were banging. He did the right thing, which I was worried about. He closed the range. He was a lot shorter than you. Closed the range. You won the round, but it was very competitive, and I thought you were punching a little too wide because of his range and closing the gap. Because I remember during the first round, he clipped you, and it's not like you were buzzed, but you thought, okay, this guy can crack. What was going through your mind in the first round, which I thought you won?
Yeah, well, the first round started a bit of wobbly, I would say, but I didn't listen to Coach G, whatever, in that fight, the whole fight.
Yeah, and I want to actually ask about that, not listening. Do you think you were a little too overconfident carrying your power going in?
Yeah, I can tell you after the second minute of the first round, I thought I'm going to knock him out in that last minute. Because that guy was gassed. He was like, just didn't want to throw anything. And I landed a few bombs, like, that would knock out anybody else. But he was just standing there, and I was like, shit, now I have to go down 2. And I was really like throwing a lot of punches in the last minute. But yeah, I didn't listen to Coach G. He was telling me, Kaine, you have to listen. And I can hear like if I watch the fight again, he's screaming and shouting at me what to do, and I'm not doing it. But that's how I learned. And then, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there was a little bit of an experience going in from your end?
Yeah, definitely. I made it way harder than it should be. I could have got him out like round 2 max,
Right.
but then I wanted to roll him.
And then, so going into round 2, I mean, he did the right thing. Close the gap when you put you under pressure. And the last 10 seconds, you backed up in a line with your left hand low, and he threw a Hail Mary shot that landed square. There's no question you were hurt. You were visibly hurt, and your legs caved in, and the rope saved you up.
Yeah.
Kept you from falling down. So for me, that would have been a fair, legitimate call for knockdown. But he hit you again after the bell, which caused the knockdown. And I would have countered, but I thought the referee that night was just dismal. So you countered, you got up, bell rang, you went to your corner. And instead of calling time at the start of round number 3, he summoned you guys in. Because there's no question in my mind you were hurt, and probably more hurt than the Blom fight because of that right hand. What was going through your emotions? Because, I'm standing there, I'm looking in the corner, and I'm like, Coach, I don't stand on Coach G's toes, as you know. But what was going through your mind?
Oh, no, look, once he caught me with that shot, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm also seeing black, like, for long. And just, like, things playing through my head, like, Kaine, your parents are here, my brother is there, all my sponsors are there, like, all the people is just there for me. So I was like, you're going to have to put yourself together. You're going to have to go to the corner. Coach will sort me out. And then, I don't know how I survived that one, but luckily I did.
Yeah, so I remember the first minute of the third round.
Yeah,
your
it was
legs
a
were
bit
still
rocky.
very heavy, still very, very heavy. You were mauling and holding. And I'd say the last minutes of round 3, you started getting behind your jab, looking really good. And then again, he hit you blatantly, I think, after the bell. Only to that point did the referee give him a warning going into round number 4. And then you got onto your jab. And on that point, when you got onto your jab in round 4, I mean, there was chalk and cheese. The guy couldn't touch you. And then, of course, you were exchanging, and he, because you buzzed him, dropped him, but simultaneously he caught you and kind of buzzed you as well. But you landed the more effective shots and knocked him out. That moment when you knocked him out, it was all she wrote. What did you learn from that experience in that fight?
Listen to your coach from round 1. That's it. And I mean, he knows everything and he can see it from the outside. So it's much better seeing stuff from the outside as where I'm fighting. So yeah, just learning. And then he talked to me nice. He was never like slapping me or whatever.
Which is sometimes known to be, he does that sometimes.
Yeah, but you see, Kaine, he's a soft guy. Like, I don't like fighting. He knows it. He's always talking nice to me, and that's what I love about Coach G. Like, different people he treats people differently, like the way they are. So with me, he's just talking nice and have to listen. Your parents are here. Your mom is busy crying. You have to fight or whatever. So yeah, no, it's yeah.
You're back in on the 15th of March. After arguably South Africa's fight of the year last year with Muhammad Wasiru. And to be fair, it's a keep busy fight. Is there pressure on you going into a keep busy fight?
I don't see it as a keep busy fight. I'm still taking it like seriously because I mean that's like the most dangerous fights to take, the keep busy fights. So no keep busy fights for me. I still want to prepare 100%, train 100%, spar 100%, and go into the fight with the mentality of you have to win this guy to get maybe that shot at the end of the year or maybe next year at the start. So, like, I'm this close, just have to take these people out in front of me.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're on the cusp now.
Yeah.
A cusp of breaking into the top 15. And that's obviously the goal from my end, from my business perspective to get you moving. Your family support that I want to talk to you about is your parents and your brother are always ringside. They're your number one fans. How important is it for you to have them by your side?
No, it's the best feeling. I mean, when I left school, my dad and my mom supported me. Even my own family was like, nah, calling my mom, how can you do this? Like, he's not going to do anything. He's going to be this and that. And then my mom told me, okay, is it your son or my son? He knows what he's doing and we know what we're doing. So just happy they always backing me. Like my dad taking me to the gym, taking off at work, come fetch me, do this, do that, like for years. And then, it's just the best feeling. I mean, to have a family that supports you, what you want to do.
So the dream is for you to become champion of the world. And that's
Definitely.
all of our goals, to be involved with Kaine Fourie. But outside of that, and obviously to be financially secure, what other dreams and aspirations do you have?
No, the dreams is to retire my parents. You know, like I said, I'm this close to being a millionaire. Just have to get these people out, and yeah, just want to flip and retire my parents because they've been doing everything for us. My brother can work with me. He's also going to start MMA. I'm glad he's doing it. Flip and he must just start doing it. He's much more better than me. But just retire my parents and then start businesses and buy whatever. Like just invest my money good, get people that can help with my money and stuff, and then just be a millionaire, man. Enjoy life.
And talking about South African boxing, if there's one thing you could change within the fistic sport within our country, what would it be and why?
The first thing I would change in boxing,
In South African boxing.
South Africa boxing. Like I always would say, pay more money for the fighters. I mean, you can't fight a 4-rounder for 4,000. I mean, you putting your life on the line for 4,000, can't work like that. I'd rather go watch 40 cars for 4,000 or whatever. But yeah, just get more money, backing the guys, and then it's business at the end of the day. So what the fighter wants, the promoter must just like back it, and then both of them can win.
A message to people who've seen you and met you on the show for the first time and to your fans.
Always my fans. Kaine loves you all. Even now when we moved to Krugersdorp in the West Rand, we're now West Rand. Everyone knows me there. It's like I'm like a famous dog there, you know. Just Kaine there and whatever. But I love it. I mean, it just motivates me more to train harder, to do everything better, and then just come watch my fight, and then we handle business again.
Kaine Fourie, the bark and the bite certainly match each other. Thanks for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me.
Looking very forward to but besides working with you, I'm looking very forward to your future. I think you are one hell of a prospect. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. This is Omni Audio Africa. Colin Nathan's No Punches Pulled. Thanks for listening.
This is Omni Sport Africa.